There's a kind of silence that lives in success. Quiet, sterile, polished. My apartment had that silence. The kind you don't want to break because you fought too damn hard to afford it. 6 days before Halloween, I stood in that silence, staring out at the skyline of Austin from my 11th floor window. The city felt calm. So did I. Work had been good. I was flying out in the morning to speak at a UX conference in Portland. 4 days. Just enough time to step away from the noise, reconnect with industry people, maybe even breathe. That's when she knocked. Morgana. I opened the door and saw her standing there, oversized sweatshirt, hood up, that look in her eyes, the same one she used when she wrecked Dad's truck and needed a cover story. Or when she forged Mom's signature in high school and cried her way out of it. "I just need a place for a few nights," she said. "Nowhere else to go." I hesitated, not because I didn't believe her, but because I did. That was the problem. Morgana had been evicted again. I hadn't asked why. I'd stopped asking years ago. She always had a reason, and I always had an extra room. I reached for my key. Because when you grow up as the quiet one, I thought, you become the fixer. I didn't say anything, just dropped the key into her palm. It felt cold, weightless, but heavier than any guilt I'd carried from childhood. As she walked in, I caught myself watching her cross the living room like she owned the space already. She noticed. "I'll keep it warm for you," she said, half smiling. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that card she made me when we were kids. "To my little brother, the only one who never judges me." I still had it, folded, fading, tucked inside a drawer I barely opened. She meant it once. I believed that. But time doesn't just pass. It wears things down. The next morning, I packed my bag in silence. Phone buzzed. Flight reminder. Text from Elian. "Crush it out there." I got into my lift and headed for the airport, checked my boarding pass twice. Everything felt normal, routine, but something in my chest didn't sit right. That subtle tug behind the ribs, like something was just slightly off. She said she just needed a few days, I whispered to myself. What could possibly go wrong? I almost laughed. Almost. At the gate, I paused. I had this habit of triple-checking the wine fridge before I left, locking it, resetting the code. This time, I didn't. I remembered closing it, not locking it. Too late now. Flight boarded. I turned off my phone, closed my eyes. The next morning, I was mid-layover in Phoenix when I checked my Instagram messages. A DM from Trish, the neighbor across the hall. "Hey, everything okay at 15B? Saw some flickering lights last night, and some new faces. Looked like a party." My stomach clenched. I typed back. Probably just a couple of friends she invited. "Thanks for checking." But I didn't believe that. "She's trying," I told myself. She said she's trying. Still, I opened my security app. Camera disconnected, not frozen, not lagged, just offline. I stared at the screen for a while, then shut the app. I didn't call her, didn't ask. Because trust, in families, is like thread. It frays, but we keep tying it back. Before boarding the next flight, I sat at the corner table by gate 12, pulled out my phone, opened the photo of that card again. To my little brother, the only one who never judges me. Creased, ink faded, corners curled. She once meant those words, I whispered. Maybe the scariest part of betrayal isn't when it happens, it's when you sense it coming, and hand them the key anyway. Just before takeoff, a text popped in from Elian. "Call me when you land. It's about Morgana." I landed in Portland and didn't even stop to pick up my luggage. Walked straight past the carousel with my phone pressed to my ear, calling Elian. He answered on the second ring. "Rowan," he said slowly. "You need to check your email." He didn't sound alarmed. He sounded calculated. Like he was still figuring out how to say what he didn't want to say. I stepped into a quiet corner of the terminal and opened my inbox. There it was. Flagged. Subject line, Emergency Incident Report, Unit 15B. I opened it. Scanned the first few lines. Entry forced by police. suspected possession of controlled substances. Multiple unidentified individuals. I stopped reading. I didn't feel my luggage handle tip over, but I heard it hit the floor beside me. My name wasn't in the first paragraph, but it didn't need to be. I knew that address. I knew what was inside. What wasn't supposed to be. No way, not her, not Morgana. I stood there frozen in the middle of a bustling airport terminal while people passed me like I was invisible. All I could hear was my pulse. Fast. Loud. Too loud. I turned and walked out toward the rideshare pickup area, shaking but steady. Hotel check-in barely registered. I gave them my ID, took the key, nodded at something the clerk said, and made it to my room without a word. The second I shut the door, I dropped everything and pulled up the security app. Offline. No feed, no signal, no history. Dead. Next came the concierge's email. Your unit was accessed by at least 20 guests. Management is working with authorities to determine if prior approval was submitted. Please respond immediately to verify your knowledge of the event. I scrolled down further. Attached, a scanned copy of the incident report. Rowan Dillard, listed as the registered occupant and responsible party. They had my name, on record. On a legal document connected to a criminal investigation. I hadn't even opened my suitcase, and already I was part of something I never saw coming. I handed her the key, I whispered, staring blankly at the screen. And now they're handing me the consequences. I pulled up my messages. Nothing from Morgana. No apology. No explanation. Not even a cheap excuse. Just silence. The kind that fills a room like smoke after something's burned. I threw my phone on the bed and sat down beside it, elbows on my knees, head in my hands. 2 months ago, she called crying. Asked for help. Rent was overdue. Again, I said no. Not this time. She didn't speak to me for weeks after that, but I still gave her the key. What does that say about me? I leaned back and stared at the ceiling. Maybe I enabled this. Maybe I deserve it. The thought lingered, then twisted into something sharper. No, I said aloud. She made the choices. I didn't sign up for this. I picked up my phone again and called the building. After 5 minutes of being transferred, a woman answered. I gave her my name, asked if they'd filed anything further. She said someone would call me back. They didn't. I tried Morgana again, straight to voicemail. Later that evening, I opened my laptop and scrolled through local news headlines, hoping this was still below the radar. There it was, not front page, but close. West Austin apartment raided for drug party, investigation ongoing. No names, but a photo of the building, clear, uncropped, the same lobby I walked through every day. The comments section was worse. I live in that complex, wonder which unit. Heard it was one of those tech girls. Figures, they think they're untouchable. I closed the laptop. My hands wouldn't stop moving, clenching, unclenching, picking at the seam on the cushion. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I sat still, and angry. Not the kind that boils over, the kind that simmers, that waits. Because when someone borrows your home and burns it down, you don't just rebuild, you make damn sure they never hold a match again. The room was quiet, except for the hum of the mini fridge. I picked up my phone and dialed Elian. He picked up right away. I need you, I said, calm, clear, flat. To help me find out exactly what happened inside my home last night. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, still in the clothes I flew in with, phone in hand, hesitating. Then I hit call. It rang 3 times before Delora picked up. My mother didn't say hello. She said my name the way someone says it when they've already decided you're guilty. We saw the news, she said, calm, even. What were you thinking letting her stay there? My throat clenched. I forced out, I didn't know she'd... She cut me off. That's exactly the problem, Rowan. You never know, and now we're all dragged into your mess. Dragged. Like I was some stray they tried to help who tracked mud into their lives. I heard my father in the background. Not his voice, just his coffee mug on the table. No words, no eye contact, even through the screen. Just that old silence he wore like a badge. I tried to speak, to explain, but something inside me stopped. I knew that tone. I knew it too well. So I ended the call. Not in anger, not even in hurt, just in disbelief. I called them for comfort, I muttered. They brought judgment. I sat there a while, staring at nothing, then opened my laptop and checked my email. 3 messages, all from freelance clients. One said, "Hi Rowan, unfortunately due to some reputational concerns, we've decided to pause this project." The other 2 didn't even try to soften the blow. I closed the laptop, reopened it, and closed it again. There was a text waiting from Jules, someone I used to trust. "Is it true? I just need to know." I didn't reply. Another from Elian. "Saw the local blog post. It's blowing up on Twitter too." I searched my name, not directly mentioned, but the phrasing. A well-known female tech consultant. Privileged position. Enabled criminal activity. That was me, just vague enough to protect them legally, just clear enough to destroy me professionally. I sat back. This is how it happens, I thought. Not with headlines, but with whispers. People you've never met decide who you are, and the people who know you, they stay quiet. I checked my call log again. No message from Morgana, no missed call, not a single thing, just one text from 48 hours ago. "Thanks again for the key, I owe you big." I stared at those words like they were written in another language. Then I deleted it, not out of rage, but because it no longer belonged on my phone or in my head. I leaned back against the headboard and let my thoughts drift. Last time I saw Morgana, about a month ago, she hugged me tight. It was one of those fake sincere hugs she gave when she wanted something but still needed you to believe she cared. "You're the only one who still believes I can change," she'd whispered. And I had believed her. That's what hurt the most. Not what she did, what I let myself believe. Elian called again. I answered without saying a word. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. Simple, steady. He offered to help track IPs, digital trails, find out who really sent the party invites, who logged into my system. "Don't pity me," I said, cutting off whatever soft words were coming next. "Just help me find the truth." He understood. I turned back to my laptop, opened a new spreadsheet. Title, evidence, names, timestamps, downloads, screenshots. This wasn't about revenge. Not yet. This was about clarity. If they won't believe me, I told myself, I'll make it impossible not to. I reopened the security app's backup cloud, scrolled down, past the last synced log. There it was, one file, glitched. I tapped it. The screen flickered. Then it started to play. I clicked the file, half expecting it to crash. It flickered at first, green lines across the top, sound a half second out of sync, but it played. There she was, Morgana, standing barefoot at my front door in the black hoodie she wore like a second skin. Laughing. She opened the door like she'd done it 1,000 times, tossed her bag on my couch, and within seconds people started filing in behind her. Not 2 or 3, dozens. Someone opened my wine cabinet. Morgana didn't flinch. She toasted. And then, like she was reading from a damn script, she said to someone off camera, "She'll never know. Not till it's way too late." I didn't blink, didn't move, just let the moment hit. She didn't break in. She didn't stumble into this. She planned it, and I had proof now. I paused the video, took a breath, opened a second tab, and searched my call log from a month earlier. There it was. September 18th. Morgana, 22 minutes, crying about being kicked out again. "I just need a week," she'd said. "Just until I get my stuff together." I'd believed her. What I didn't know, what I now could confirm, was that the same night she messaged Quaid. "Got a place," she wrote. "Big, private, perfect for a night we'll never forget." He replied, "Your place?" She answered, "Not exactly, but it's mine for now." There it was, right in front of me. She didn't fall into trouble. She sent out invitations. I stared at the text, then back at the video. Let myself absorb the feeling, not just betrayal, but setup. Calculated. Cold. I picked up my phone and called Quaid. I didn't yell, didn't start with threats, just said his name. Then, "I suggest you answer honestly, or my lawyer's going to knock before I do." He was quiet at first, Then came the sigh. She told me it was hers, he admitted. Said no cameras, no security. Said it was just for one night. I figured it was fine. You figured? I asked. He paused, then delivered the blow. She said if anything happened, you'd be the one they'd call, not her. There it was. No more maybes. No more giving her the benefit of the doubt. I was never the fallback. I was the plan. I hung up. Didn't scream. Didn't cry. I stood by the window and stared out at the hotel parking lot. People pulling in, grabbing their bags, going about their evening like the world was still fair. I opened my laptop again, started a timeline. Emails, messages, screenshots, receipts. If they wanted a case, I'd give them one. Not fueled by rage, not driven by revenge, built on facts. She didn't just throw a party. She made a point. She wanted me to know. No matter how far I'd gotten, I'd always be her cleanup crew. Not this time. I wasn't the girl who stayed quiet. I wasn't the one who just made peace. I clicked into my concierge system. Every building request was logged. One stood out. Event access submitted under the name LD Grant. My stomach turned. That wasn't some random alias. That was my mother's old letter-writing pseudonym. She'd used it growing up to file complaints with the school district. Anonymous, but always unmistakably her. I leaned back. Now it was clear. It wasn't just Morgana. It was both of them. I watched the video again. It was clearer now, like my mind had finally stopped making excuses for her. Morgana, opening her third bottle of wine, laughing like she was queen of something. The kitchen, once clean, now a pit of strangers. A guy in a hoodie dipped his head to the glass table, snorted something. She clapped. Someone looked straight into the security camera, held up a finger like it was a game, and then Morgana walked over and shut it off with one click. That was the moment my chest stopped moving. Not fear, not shock, certainty. She didn't just cross a line, she erased it. I sat still in the hotel chair, both hands on my knees, heart steady. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was confirmation. I'd spent years explaining her to people. She's trying. She just needs time. She's not bad, just lost. But the video didn't show someone lost. It showed someone who knew exactly what she was doing. And then I called the building. A man answered, polite enough. Sounded young, like this was just another task before lunch. I need to see the lobby footage, I told him. From the night of the party. There was a pause. That's already been requested, he said. I blinked. By who? He hesitated, then read from his screen. Request came in from an LD, Grant, authorized for temporary access override. I didn't speak. LD, Grant. I hadn't heard that name in 20 years. My mother used it when she wrote anonymous complaint letters to school boards, restaurants, hospitals, any place she thought had slighted our family. It was her ghost name, the polite bully. So it wasn't just Morgana. It was both of them. And it wasn't an accident. I hung up, sat back. Then, something snapped in my memory. 2 weeks before I left, we'd had brunch. I told them about the conference. My mother had smiled in that thin-lipped way of hers. You deserve to breathe, she said. Let the world wait. Morgana had nodded. Recharge. I'll keep things settled here. Settled. I'd thought it was kindness. Thought they were, for once, supportive. I laughed to myself. Not bitter, just tired. That was the setup. The smile, the well-wishing, the plan already in motion while I was still sipping coffee. I pulled up FaceTime and called her. Delora. She answered immediately, as if she was waiting. Rowan, she said, tone already wrapped in defense. I know it was you. A beat of silence. I don't know what you're talking about. I let that hang. You requested override access using your old alias. You used your ghost name, Mom. Her voice changed. You're overreacting. You always do. This is exactly why the family keeps things from you. You helped her throw an illegal party in my apartment. She made a mistake. You act like she committed a felony. She did. Rowan, she sighed, drawing out the vowel like it was the weight she carried. This family doesn't survive lawsuits. We survived together. That was it. That's when I knew they'd never seen me as one of them. I was the sponge, the one who soaked up the mess and wrung herself out in silence. I survived alone, I said. You just watched. I ended the call, not in anger, in peace. That night, I printed everything, pages upon pages, the texts, the video stills, the building logs, the emails, stapled them into a folder and labeled it myself, Dillard versus Dillard. Then I opened my closet, took out the card she gave me as a child, to my little brother, the only one who never judges me. I didn't cry. I just placed it into a small box, shut the lid, sealed it like a wound that would never fully close but didn't need to bleed anymore. Love and loyalty aren't the same language. I'd spent my life trying to translate. Now I was done. I opened my laptop and attached the video, typed the subject line, "For immediate use, no more silence," and hit send. I slept for 4 hours, woke up with a stiff neck and the kind of stillness that creeps into a room when bad news already made itself comfortable. My inbox had a reply from the legal assistant, short, direct, "This has legal merit, we will proceed." I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt something else, dread. I opened my banking app to send over the retainer fee. Account frozen. No warning, no explanation, just a message. Access restricted due to pending investigation. I sat back, staring at the screen. It felt like a rope being pulled just tight enough around my chest to remind me it was there. You think getting lawyers involved means power, but the system doesn't care who got hurt. It cares who's easiest to penalize. Apparently, I was both. The email from the assistant blinked again in my inbox. Underneath it, a new one popped up. Unknown law firm. The subject line, urgent. Incident at Unit 15B. I clicked it. The letterhead looked expensive, clean. The tone, colder than my account balance. They represented one of the kids at the party. His family was threatening civil action for host endangerment and emotional distress. I blinked. I wasn't even there. I muttered into the room like it could argue for me. I called, got a junior associate, told her everything, every detail, every truth. Her voice didn't flinch. You own the space. That's enough for a court. That's the thing about truth. It's not always relevant. Sometimes the paper matters more than the pain. I hung up and opened a new note on my laptop, titled it, War Budget, Assets, Contacts, Steps to Take. I wasn't reacting anymore. I was preparing. A line from my old therapist floated up out of nowhere, sharp and unwelcome. You can't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. I'd always brushed it off as dramatic, but right now, it sounded like instruction. I sent an email to my bank. One sentence. Please pause all shared accounts connected to my family. Then I shut the laptop and just sat. Not sad, not angry, clear. I spent most of the day collecting files, lining them up into folders, breathing between each click. When my phone rang again, it was Elian. You need to see this. He sent a link. I opened it, a 20-second clip, already being re-shared like wildfire. Morgana, on my couch, dancing like it was her stage, joint in one hand, red solo cup in the other. It's her place, she shouted, but we run it tonight. Someone off camera laughed. She's gonna kill you. Morgana smirked. She won't. She never does. It played twice before I stopped it. This wasn't just disrespect. It was performance. She counted on me staying silent, on me protecting the family, on me doing what I'd always done, disappear under the weight of their noise, but not this time. I picked up the phone and called Marla, my attorney. She answered on the second ring. I'm ready, I said. File everything, no delays, no settlements. I wasn't doing this for vengeance. I was doing it because someone needed to say, enough. That evening, while I updated my notes, a new text came in. No contact saved, no name. Back off or you'll regret making this public. You've been warned. I froze, then tapped the number, and saw the name attached to it in my call history. Dad. At first, I thought it was just another troll. People like to throw stones when they think you won't throw back. But then I tapped the number, and my phone filled it in for me. Dad? I stared at the screen long enough to wonder if maybe it had been his number once and someone else had it now. That kind of mental gymnastics people do when they don't want to believe what's obvious. Still, I called. Delora answered. Rowan, she said. Not surprised, not concerned, just neutral. You used him to silence me? It's better this way, she said. No lawsuits, no noise. Her voice had the same tone she used when she told neighbors that Morgana was just going through something. Calm, clipped, curated for damage control. My hands trembled, but I didn't let it reach my voice. You had him send that message? She paused. We're protecting the family. We can fix this quietly. My jaw tightened. The only thing that needs fixing is how far you've gone to keep this family clean on paper while it's rotting from the inside. She didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. Not really. Later that afternoon, Elian called again. He didn't even say hello. It's viral now. He sent a link. It was a short video, cropped tight, grainy, but not enough to save her. Morgana, dancing barefoot on my couch, a joint in one hand, her arm wrapped around someone's neck like a prize. She thinks kindness wins, Morgana shouted into the camera, laughing. But I know weakness when I see it. The room cheered. A voice off-screen asked, What if she finds out? Morgana grinned. She'll cry. That's all she ever does. I watched it once. Then again, I didn't cry. I clicked save and closed the laptop. They never feared me, I said under my breath. Because I never made them. A ding broke the silence. New email. Subject. FWD, keep her calm. I opened it. It was from Delora's account. Forwarded by mistake, probably meant for Morgana. Don't panic, she'd written. Rowan will cool off like always. Give her time. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. Below it, another message, from 2 weeks earlier. Let her scream, but never give her the mic. I stood up, not fast, just enough to feel my feet on the floor. I begged to belong, I whispered, to people who built a room and locked me out of it. I printed the thread, every word, stapled it, then printed the video, drafted a cover sheet, sat down, opened my public statement draft, started reading it aloud, not for the camera, for myself. They wanted silence, I said quietly. But silence isn't peace. It's compliance. And I'm done complying. I practiced it again. Sharper this time, the kind of tone that makes people look up from their phones. I attached everything, pressed save, reached for the mouse, and then my phone buzzed. No name, just a number. Someone from your building is feeding info to the press, the text read. It's not your sister, it's someone closer. I woke up to the kind of noise that doesn't come from outside. It lives in your phone. Dozens of texts. Some from numbers I hadn't saved in years. Others from people I didn't even know remembered my name. A few just sent links. The article's headline was bold, aggressive. Tech designer's apartment site of drug party, sister accused. No need to name her. They named me, my profession, my building, my age, a photo of my unit's balcony. My company logo blurred in the background of one post. A former client canceled my contract. The email was short. We'll reconsider future projects after things settle down. The truth doesn't matter when your name is what people click. I closed my laptop without shutting the screen. Just let it glow in the corner like a slow-burning fire. Later that morning, I called the building manager again. Tried to keep my voice even. I need the security footage and visitor logs for October 25th, I said. A pause. Sorry, we're unable to release that due to liability concerns. You released it to someone else. I'm sorry. We've been advised by legal not to discuss this matter any further. Click. I didn't yell, didn't beg, but something inside me settled, and not in the comforting way, in the way concrete settles after something's buried. If the systems don't care, you make your own. I brewed coffee, opened my laptop again, and dragged everything into a folder. Screenshots, voicemail transcriptions, images of Morgana laughing in my home. I wrote the statement slowly. No lawyer. No PR firm. Just me. One page. No sugar. At 5 p.m., I posted it. I didn't throw the party, but I will take responsibility for surviving what they tried to bury me with. I turned off comments, but they came anyway. Texts, DMs, emails, some supportive, some cruel, some just confused. A stranger wrote, "This happened to me too." But one comment stayed with me. Not because it was the loudest, but because it was right. You were never part of them, and they knew it. That's why they had to break you. That night, I sat on my balcony and watched the city bleed into the horizon. I remembered every version of myself who tried to belong, who tried to fit into a table that always had just one chair short. I kept asking to sit at their table, I whispered. But the truth is, I built my own house, and they tried to burn it down. I went back inside and opened the little box, the card Morgana made when we were kids. To my little brother, the only one who never judges me. I stared at it. Then I ripped it in half. Set both pieces in the fireplace and lit the match. Not out of hate, out of clarity. I stood still until the paper curled into black. Then a knock came at the door. I looked through the peephole. Morgana, whoa. I didn't open the door right away. Morgana stood on the other side, shifting her weight like she always did when she wasn't sure how to talk her way out of something. The peephole showed her carrying a box, not a gift, not flowers, just a plain brown box, like she was returning something that was never hers to take in the first place. I unlatched the lock, slowly, opened the door just wide enough. She didn't smile, didn't apologize, just walked in like she had the right. I didn't know it would get this far, she said. I didn't respond. I sat on the edge of the couch. She stayed standing, eyes darting to the corners of the room like she expected it to yell at her. I didn't mean to ruin your life, Rowan, she said. It just got out of hand. She cried. But I've seen her cry before. She cries when she's cornered, when no one else jumps in to take the blame. And there I was, not moving, not jumping, not holding the net she was so used to falling into. Midway through her sobs, my phone buzzed. I picked it up and glanced at the screen. Jules, you were right, the text read. I saw it all. I'm sorry I doubted you. I stared at the words for a second, then locked the phone and placed it face down on the table. Morgana wiped her eyes. Can we just start over? I know I screwed up, but we're family. You didn't break me because you could, I said. You broke me because you thought I wouldn't say anything. She looked like she wanted to argue, maybe throw out another line about forgiveness or second chances, but the air in the room had changed. I walked over to the shelf, opened the box I'd sealed days ago, took out the card. To my little brother, the only one who never judges me. I handed it to her. Keep it, I said. It's yours, so is everything that came after. Her voice cracked. So that's it? That's it. She didn't ask to stay. She didn't try to hug me. She left. Later, I moved through the apartment slowly, picked up photos, folded blankets, tossed out things that no longer felt like mine. I stood by the window for a while, watching the last orange fade from the sky. No wine tonight, just a glass of water, just me. The doorbell rang again. He didn't say much, just stood there, same tired expression, hands in his jacket pockets. I stepped aside. He walked in. We didn't talk, just sat. After a while, I said, You didn't ask me to shrink to be loved. Thank you. He nodded. We watched the skyline blink in and out of darkness. Some things you rebuild, I said. Others you just leave behind. The next morning, I woke up without the usual pit in my chest. The world hadn't changed. The headlines had moved on. Someone else's life was under scrutiny now. Morgana's name never went viral. But the people who mattered now knew. Delora never called. But Wendell sent a PayPal transfer. No note, just a line in the subject box, no hard feelings. I sent it back, no message, just a single period. There was no court date, no public win, just me. I opened my business website, updated the tagline beneath my name, Not here to be safe, here to be seen. Later that evening, I lit a candle beside the fireplace, the same place I'd burned that card. Some people think resolution means reunion. It doesn't. Sometimes it just means silence that no longer hurts.